Hello there, Internet. My name is MegaMogwai, and ahead of us lies yet another brilliant day in the arena. Today, I needed a red deck. It's the only color that I've not showcased so far, so I decided to bring in Demetrius Johnson, the Mighty Mouse, and I clicked on the wrong scene. What the fuck? Oh, because I'm already down here. Professional YouTuber. We have a Boros Mice aggro list here, and this is not like a super creative deck that I'm sharing with you guys. I can't do that every single day, even though I have a bunch of ideas. I need time to optimize them and prepare them, and sometimes I'm gonna throw something a little bit more standard at you, but I'm gonna take my approach at it. The Boros Mice aggro archetype is centered around the Valiant. It's built around the Valiant keyword. We have Flowerfoot Swordmaster, Heartfire Hero, the Emberheart Challenger, and a one-off of the Whisker Veil Forerunner as creatures with Valiant in this deck. Valiant is a mechanic that will proc whenever you target the creature with either a spell or an ability from your end, not from your opponent. So if your opponent uses removal on it, it won't be triggered to Valiant, but if you use one of your spells to target one of those creatures, you will be proccing it. And it only procs once per turn. So it's quite different from something like Prowess, for example, which encourages you to just like chain a bunch of spells, potentially even on the same unit on the same turn. But in this case, that's not it. It's more about being able to trigger Valiant on a regular basis and being able to out-tempo your opponent because of that. Our sources of Valiant in this deck are, like I mentioned, Flowerfoot Swordmaster, which allows us to buff our entire board, area of effect buff here for power onto all mice, +1 power into the end of turn. Very neat. Heartfire Hero will build up. It's more of like a snowbally thing. We're getting a +1/+1 counter on it, which is permanent. So every single time we trigger the Valiant, the Heartfire Hero will grow more and more. And the more it grows, the more menacing it becomes, because whenever it dies, it will deal damage equal to its power to each opponent. It says each opponent in case you're playing like Commander or something. It's just basically just the opponent, in case you're wondering. So we have build up, we have the ability to spread out buffs across our board, and we also have the ability to turn the Valiant or convert this into card draw with the Emberheart Challenger. Perhaps one of the best red cards introduced with the Bloomburrow expansion. A card that you're definitely going to be seeing in Modern Red aggro, but a card that you're also going to be seeing in Boros Mice. As with Valiant, we get to exile the top card of our library, and then until the end of the turn, we can actually play that card. Due to the low curve of our, the low curve nature of our deck, we are able to most often than not, if we sequence this properly, utilize the card that we picked up with the Emberheart Challenger. So a lot of times, if you're going to trigger the Valiant from Emberheart Challenger, you may want to do so before you play your land that turn, because that way, if you draw a land, you can play that one instead. So that's a tip that makes a big difference, especially for newer players utilizing these sort of effects. And overall, it's a very powerful card. Has haste and also prowess. So if you start chaining these combat tricks, you can just skyrocket in power, and is a phenomenal resource for this deck. And the one-off of Whisker Veil Forerunner allows us to pick off creatures from the top of our deck that are 3 mana value or less and bring them onto the board whenever we trigger the Valiant. Keep in mind that the Valiant has to be triggered on your turn. I actually slipped on this on one game and forgot about that little detail and tried to get cheeky and spawn the creature on my opponent's turn with a combat trick. Spoilers, it did not work out. So don't do that. Trigger the Valiant on your turn for this card specifically. I could justify this card. I had like a reflex episode there. What was I saying? I would like 2 copies of Whisker Veil Forerunner instead of 1 potentially. Maybe you can drop MABEL Heir to the Cracked Flame down to 2 and run 2 of these. Though, you can't go too high up with your curve. We are running 23 lands, lower than usual because we are an aggro deck and we don't want to flood. But sometimes, running too many copies of this and drawing like 2 in your hand is dangerous, which is why I kept it down to 1. But this card is so good when it goes through. And honestly, I'm really excited to experiment with this card outside of the Mice archetype, because I do feel like it has potential in other decks as well. Like there's some neat things you can come up with this card, and it's a very exciting card in my opinion, but definitely puts in the work here. So MABEL Heir to Cracked Flame gives other mice +1/+1 and generates the token Cracked Flame. Fun fact, this will allow you to enable the celebration for the Raging Battle Mouse, who is a very key card in this deck. For 2 mana, we get a 2/1 that says the second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. You know, you can chain a 1-drop and then play one of your 2-drops for just 1 mana, which is really nice. But the celebration is the key component of this card. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. So Raging Battle Mouse can be a card that can enable your Valiant by just being on the board, and functions really well with the Offspring mechanic, but also with MABEL. When we play MABEL, because we're playing MABEL and we're generating a token artifact, we're getting 2 non-land permanents on the board with just 1 play, which will enable a celebration for this, like I mentioned. But so do the Offspring plays that we have from the likes of the Flowerfoot Swordmaster or even the Manifold Mouse. If we pay the Offspring cost for these cards, then we'll be able to generate a token copy of it and enable the Raging Battle Mouse's celebration, which can just allow us to absolutely pop off. So this is a deck that is very creature-centric, and it's all about having these mice interact with each other. Like, you know, we have some mice that have Valiant, and then we have other mice, like the Cheeky House Mouse or the Manifold Mouse right here, that will actually target the other mice and enable the Valiant for them. And then we have some combat tricks as well, as we have the Might of the Meek as a full set. This card is absolutely amazing in this deck. +1 and trample and draw a card, so it cycles itself, which is huge. We have 3 copies of Monstrous Rage, which fulfills the same purpose as this, but does not draw as a card, but does provide us with more power. And then a couple of copies of Mabel's Metal. This card is really good at enabling proccing multiple Valiants with just 1 card. That's why we run it as a 2-of. Even though it costs 2 mana and it's better for us to have 1 mana combat tricks, this is a very good addition, because the ability to trigger multiple Valiants with just 1 card can come in very clutch when we are inevitably running out of gas with this kind of deck. So I like it a lot. It's also like a lot of stats for 2 mana spread out, and overall just a fantastic combat trick that I've ever since I added it onto the deck, I never looked back on it. And that is the deck list right there, ladies and gentlemen. It's essentially spreading out with the mice, triggering the Valiant, and trying to get the most out of our hits and end the game quickly so the opponent can't really do anything. That's how aggro goes. I'm not the biggest aggro fan, but every now and then, I'm not gonna lie, it feels good to play a little bit of Smork. And, you know, not really turn the brain off. You know, ever since I got back to Magic, like, aggro decks are nowhere near as simplistic as they used to be, and this deck is actually this deck is complicated because of the Valiant procs and everything. Like, it's actually, there's a lot going on here. This is a very it's so sequence intensive. Like, you cannot miss sequence at any point, you know. Like, you can really fuck up with this deck very easily, and you got to keep in mind when you're piloting it. The Rockface Village is a land that I want to mention, though, as it is very key in this deck. We're running it as a 3-of. It does not allow us to tap for red for non-creature spells, which sometimes can be annoying. That's why we run 3 copies and not 4. But with this land alone, we can trigger the Valiant onto mice for 2 mana, just having this land, which is really very nice, especially when we're running low on steam and we just don't have enough ways to proc them. Being able to do so with our lands is absolutely essential, and this card is just, you know, you do not play mice without the Rockface Village, in my opinion. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's games. Let me know what you think about Boros Mice. Let me know what you would like to see. You know, any sort of suggestions, any sort of like new cards that you'd like me to build around. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll get to it. Love ya. Have a solid day. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, here we go. Today we fight with the little people. Let's do this. Just realized the audio is a bit loud for me. There we go. Okay, Davin. I'm ready. We're gonna keep this. You know, we have 23 lands, so we are expecting a lot of 2-land opening hands, but 2-land opener is just enough for this kind of deck as we go for the Heartfire Hero. The Fiery Mouse will lead up the charge for us, as we got a Manifold Mouse. That can be a great follow-up here, as we're facing Boros. It could be regular Boros Convoke, or it could be a Mouse Mirror right off the bat. They could have a shock, but I'm gonna go ahead and believe gonna play the Manifold Mouse. Oh no, did they have a shock? I guess not. Double strike. Double. Look at that. Look at that. 4 damage right off the bat. Manifold Mouse is a tremendous engine, man. That if it... Okay, it is Mouse. Okay. Alright. We take that hit. We're in a race. We are in a race, ladies and gentlemen. But we have the Ember Heart Challenger. I could keep on buffing the Heartfire Hero to push even more damage. If I go for like +2/+2, this is +1/+1 and +1. So if it is +2/+2, 4/4, I deal a shitload of damage to them. But I kind of ran a little bit out of gas, so I'm gonna go with the Ember Heart Challenger. And I'm gonna apply... in case I pick up a land, basically. This is less damage than I could have gone for, but if I pick up a land there... sorry about that. My mic has like a very, very frail cable. They're just racing, though. And this is the thing, like, they have Might of the Meek. And they can go for a big hit here, but they're wide open. They are wide open. Mabel's Meadow has to be the way that we get through here. Six, 8, 9. Oh my goodness, the greed. Are you serious? Are you crazy? What did you think was gonna happen, dude? No respect. No respect whatsoever. We missed that third land, but we just break through. Oh my goodness. You can't just be full on offense there where I'm going first. Nah, man. We punished the greed, the foolishness. Let's go for another one. Snaps. That brings me back. Okay, we got the Inspired Vantage. We got the Mountain. This is a promising hand, actually. We're gonna lead off with the Cheeky House Mouse. Instead of like preserving for the squeak by, we want to generate board presence. If we can curve onto 3. If we can curve onto 3, Mabel will trigger the Raging Battle Mouse immediately upon entry, because I'll get 2 non-land permanents to appear on the battlefield due to the generation of the Crack Flame. But there's the Virtue of Persistence. We do find that third land, though. And I'm gonna go Mabel and generate the Crack Flame. We don't have any Valiant Mouses, though. Important to note. Like right now, we're missing on that. There's another one. These Virtue of Persistence are persisting. Ember Heart Challenger. Squeak by. Valiant. We find another Ember Heart. We don't find a land, unfortunately. Which is what we're going for there. It's a rat deck. We needed to stop, like, removing our shit. But it seems like that's all they have. Removal. Endless removal. Okay. Okay, so whenever that attacks... I'm gonna offspring this. I'm gonna hold back. It's a 1/3, so I can't really attack into it. I'm gonna try to spread out with my mice. They have 3 cards in hand. They've dropped a lot of removal on us. Persistent Marsh Stalker, okay. Entangled Colony, alright. It's just kind of like enhancing my stats though. To take the hit there, I'm just thinking for a moment. Okay. So they denied the ability of my Crake Flame, but that's fine. I can play Manifold Mouse into Monstrous Rage. I'm gonna do this. Allow me to plow through the defenses. And making full use of our Flowerfoot Swordmaster by targeting each one once. We're not gonna block into that. When that dies, it triggers something. Rats defeated! I repeat, rats defeated! Noose. Okay, Noose. We have a 2-lander. We're going first. We have the white source of mana. And red as well. Like, this Inspire Advantage feels really good alongside the Rockface Village because I can't use this for red mana for, like, combat tricks. We got the Heartfire Hero. The 1-drop we always need. Okay. I mean, we're gonna go with that good old Heartfire Hero turn 1, turn 2 Manifold Mouse. Get that +1/+1 counter. Get that double strike, baby. Hit him for 4. This 1/2 is the tits. Especially because I can just continue like growing. Oh, a bunny. A small bunny though. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, not afraid. Everybody. I messed up. I'm gonna go with you. No. I can't really enable the Raging Battle Mouse. I think it has to be MABEL here. Just keep pumping this up. Forcing them to block. Weakening the Regal Bunnycorn. I'm not taking with the Manifold Mouse because they could just take the damage and kill it and then come back. And I don't want to leave myself open for that, so I'm keeping the mouse in the back here. They have 1 mana left. What are you gonna do to my mouse? What can you? Oh no! Stop! 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 What a dick. What do we do here? We swing. That's what we do. This allows us to draw a card. And for now, let's keep everything else in the back. It's a big hit. We could have gone for the Monster's Rage for a little bit extra, but I'd rather preserve this here. Develop the Raging Battle Mouse. And call that a turn. And prepare for one last swing. Slow and steady wins the race. They play the Life Creed Duo. Whenever they play a unit, they're going to gain life, but that's not going to be enough. Our next attack is going to be legendary. And oh boy, if you attack, if you tap, if you dare to tap anything on the board right now. Yeah. Yeah. Thought so. Fuck, I cannot. I actually am severely lacking in white mana. Shit. I can't really enable the Raging Battle Mouse now. We have one source of trample here. Potentially another one here. Let me think for a moment. Give that trample. And swing with everything. I want to keep MABEL's metal enabled there. Okay, so right now we have a total of 6 damage. 6 damage. What happens if I mean, I should just do this, to be honest. We have 6 damage, right? Like I'm not tripping here. Yep. No, you should have blocked more. GG no re! Am I deep down an aggro player? Is that what I should be doing? Alright, Gaku. Ashiok always like creeps me out. Like the fact that there's like no brain and no eyes in there. Like, it's just, that's just weird shit, man. I have to mulligan. 1 landers are not something we can afford. 3 landers is great, but we can just drop a land. And keep all the mice. All of them. I'm gonna lead off with the Flowerfoot Swordmaster. Flowerfoot Swordmaster into Manifold Mouse translates into the same amount of damage as the heart thing. Forgot their name. Instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink. That is a massive, massive threat. Do I want to develop this now? Or do I want to offspring it? I mean, now I should play it. I could have dropped the planes and gone with and spread out with some mice, but because removal is gonna happen here. And I think I played a little bit into it. But I'm just gonna spread out my Flowerfoot Swordmasters. Okay, more Brass Forge. We can block that. We have to power through. And it's gotta be you. Raging Battle Mouse into Cheeky Mouse. Going wide. Going wide. Trying to overcome this this threat, man. If they have like AoE, oh dear lord, oh, why did I say anything? Oh my. Moment of silence for the fallen. Oh, we tried, guys. We tried. Hello there, Emperor. You don't play Brotherhood's End, do you? Of course you don't. We got a 2-lander with both white and fire. Dreams of Steel and Oil. They can get a creature card away. We're gonna go for the Hardfire Hero, and we're gonna try to apply a lot of pressure. I'm gonna drop that. And I'm gonna go with the cheeky mouse play. Okay, so a full dedicated discard deck with a bazillion different sources of discard. Fine. You attacked my hand. Oh yeah, you give me your blockers just like that. We're coming. You got more discards? Because that's what happens when you run a bazillion discard cards in your hand and you just don't think about distributions. You end up drawing too many of them. This top deck sucks though. Yeah, see, but that's the thing. Like you can keep discarding me, but what do you do with the board? You have way too many. Way too many discard cards, and that's gonna be the end of you. Booyah! That one felt good. Okay. We have a 4-lander. That's kind of crazy. That's actually insane, but I'm gonna keep because... Okay, we need to stop drawing more lands though. Like that's just insane. Don't tell me I'm gonna flood with a 23 land deck. Like don't do that to me. I'm gonna play the Raging Battle Mouse. They could have a cut down, but they could also just have like standard removal. So I'm gonna spread out. They do. They have the removal. I'd rather they answer like the Heartfire Hero can grow a lot. Need to navigate around their removal. Okay, there's Gix. I repeat, there's Gix. Yeah, these lands make things a little bit awkward here. I want to develop the cheeky house mouse so that I can have a blocker. I'm not gonna block here. Like if they drawing them a card is not ideal, but at this point it may, like unless it's a key draw for them, they take 1 damage. Having the Monstrous Rage onto the Heartfire hero is really important. There's nothing bad there.
This is my home, and I don't appreciate it when people touch my things. I've always hated crowds.
You're gonna keep drawing? That's really greedy. Super greedy. Like, what if I get a haster? Heir to the crack flame! MABEL! Finish that! Let's go! Woo! Unfriended? Why? Yeah. No one drop, which is strange to see, but we have a 3-lander while going second with MABEL. Double Monstrous Rage. Like, this can definitely work. We see Tiny Bones turn 1. And we're just gonna drop the Emberheart Challenger. Hope that they don't have removal for the Emberheart Challenger. Which they do. They could have a cut down, but they would have played it right. Because I could play Cheeky Mouse and then use that to block into Tiny Bones. Otherwise, they get the Emberheart Challenger. But you know what? I'm going to live with that. I'm going to play MABEL. Create the Crack Flame there. If they want to use Tiny Bones to steal my Emberheart, so be it. It's not like they have tools for it. I do want to draw. I'm gonna attack with a cheeky House Mouse first. See if I can bait some blocks. And then we're gonna resort to the Whisker Veil Forerunner here. With Monster's Rage, I can trigger the Valiant and start spreading out. While also having a 3-4 blocker. Making use of the Crack Flame here with the Vigilance. They don't block into it, and now we develop you. And I can use Monster's Rage defensively, actually. As they declare their attacks, I can use Monster's Rage onto the Whiskervale Forerunner to bring out something from my deck and surprise them with an extra blocker. Actually, no, that doesn't work like that. And I mistapped my ship because I could have had the Monster's Rage enabled, but I don't know why I ended up in this position. I didn't use my, oh my goodness, I tapped my lands wrong, man. I tapped my lands wrong. I would have been able to get them otherwise. Why did I not tap these rock face villages? Oh my goodness, the slip up. Slip up was massive. I'm gonna hold back. I could have attacked, but I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna try to preserve as many blockers as I can. They have a Tiny Bones, joins up. Really upset at myself for this, though. Need to be very careful, man. Okay, so Gisa goes down. The skeletons have Menace. But we're still gonna open up for an attack here. I could have surprised them with a lethal there. Be very mindful of how you tap your lands, because the auto tapper will just screw you over. More often than not, we're not going to block into that. You want to draw? Because that's one damage. That's one life that is absolutely essential for you. And I'm going to retaliate. Oh boy, am I going to retaliate. Fucking tap this shit. Tap this shit now. Offspring. Here we go. The Manifold Mouse. Double. Why not? It gains double strike until the end of turn. At this point, the only one with that is you, so I'm gonna give you double strike, and then I'm gonna give you +1/+1, and then I'm gonna give you +1/+1. Oh boy. How many blockers? 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers. 4 blockers. We're going in. We don't shy away. We got Vigilance. Double strike and trample on this. Oh, I just... This deck is actually really intricate, and it's really easy to make mistakes. For a second there, I was like, wait. Dr. Pardon. You have to forgive me for what I'm about to unleash on you. But not with this hand. I gotta mulligan this. Because we need that source of red really bad. Okay, we got the plains and the Battlefield Forge. We keep those. We have the Heartfire Hero. We're gonna drop the Monstrous Rage. And we're gonna lead off with a hero. I'm gonna go for the cheeky mouse play here. It allows me to push more damage while continuing to develop the board. Yes, I have the Raging Battle Mouse here. But I can always play that next turn. After I go for a hit here. There we go. We swing. They shot the mouse. Imagine shooting a mouse. Fucking degenerates. I want to keep you, man. It may seem kind of greedy, but I definitely want to keep you for the offspring. If we top deck a land here, we make use of that big time. They could have more removal. We have MABEL. Which automatically triggers the Raging Battle Mouse. We're gonna be applying the buff onto the Cheeky House Mouse though, so that if they want to remove this, like we get more damage out of this hit. So we're buffing the overall weaker mouse, as we are expecting the removal to go into MABEL here. Get Lost, okay. Okay, that's not as smooth. We get 2 map tokens, which we can definitely use with Valiant. That's not a good removal against mouse. Against mice, English. Like this, giving me these maps allows me to trigger all these effects. Who the fuck are you? Gev Scaled Scorch. That is really cool. Okay. 2 mana open. 2 mana open, ladies and gentlemen. What is the play here? I don't think this works this way, right? I'm gonna play the Flowerfoot Swordmaster. I don't think it works that way with the Raging Battle Mouse. Like if I, like the second spell I cast has 1 less to cast. If anybody can confirm this in the comments down below. I don't think, because it's because of the wording, it says you may pay an additional 2 as you cast a spell. I'm not sure that's counting towards the reduction with the Raging Battle Mouse, but if somebody could clarify that for me, that'd be great. I don't know what they thought. They thought that was going to work a different way, I guess. We force a block here into the Raging Battle Mouse, dropping them down to 3. We get that Aspire advantage in there. We got all the maps and the Crack Flame. They got the Hell Spur Pause Boss. All right, getting some blockers in there. Okay, making things interesting here. All right, can we muscle through? Ember Heart. Challenger! I'm gonna preserve my board. Right now, they have managed to halt us with this play. But I'm gonna make use of the maps and the fact that we have this Crag Flame as well. I could have preserved you to chain with that, but I can always play this for one and then Crag Flame it. There's Jasper. There's Laughing Jasper Flint. No matter what, we have to break through this turn. We have to make use of our trample. We have to use that as a surprise here. So what we're gonna do is right off the bat. I have to think about this clearly. That's 5. I can really surprise them with this. So I think the way is to play the Flowerfoot Swordmaster. Just 1. And then do this. And then I can just equip you with that. And swing. Full force. Preserving the might of the meek. That's a surprise win condition here. Gonna bring down the lizards. Watch. Yeah, this force... Oh man, this sequence was really neat. The fact that I haven't used this last map should be telling that I have something in hand. But they are nah. They wanna keep Laughing Jasper Flint alive. Full! Yeah, they're worried about me having just like some kind of buff, so they're adding in that mercenary onto this, but they don't know I got trample. Oh baby. The might of the meek! Booyah!